thanks Harriet Trail Running for sponsoring this week's interview. Harriet is a fantastic UK trail running brand making quality, functional and affordable gear for anyone who loves getting off-road. Whether you're a first-time trail runner or a seasoned ultra athlete, their kit covers everything from race vests, poles, waterproofs and other trail essentials built for the ever-changing British weather. We love Harriet at TN Trails because they truly champion inclusivity and community. They help runners of every level feel welcome, supported and confident enough to explore the trails. This week we are shining light on the Exmoor Pro, or might be Exmoor or Exmoor. What should I say?
You can say whatever you like.
Tomato. Exmoor Pro 3-layer waterproof jacket, the trail running shell for anyone who wants breathability and light rain protection. At just 214 grams, it weighs lighter than a can of pop. It's tough, comfy and falls into its own pocket too. Perfect for ultras, multi-day missions or those 1 hour runs that sometimes turn into 3. Key feature time, 10,000 millimeters hydrostatic head waterproof rating and a 50,000 MVP breathability. Vents heat fast so you don't feel like you're slow cooking inside your own jacket. And all of this for £189.99. And if you'd like to save 10% on your purchase from Harrier, then use the code TEAS10 for 10% off site-wide, or check out the brilliant trail bundles for up to 20% off. Head over to www.harrietrunfree.co.uk. Check them out.
Got a treat for you guys this week. We were thinking as Northern Traverse approaches faster and faster, and you're getting fed up of us talking about it. Won't be long now. A few weeks, we'll start whining about something else. We were like, we want to talk to somebody about the Northern Traverse who's done it. Then we thought, who better than show favourite Fiona Horsfield, who can not only tell us, because we haven't caught up with her yet, sneaky lie there, I've had a coffee with her and we went through her whole race. Loved it. I actually got a parking ticket because we chatted for so long. I didn't put enough money on my car for so long so we were chatting about her spine race, in which she did incredible, and then also getting some cheeky top tips for the Northern Traverse as well. And I love Fiona because she's so down to earth, incredible runner, incredible human, always positive, does these incredible performances, but it's like just like your everyday. It's like there's no ego, there's nothing. She is your everyday hero, if you could say. So if you're looking for a little bit of inspiration, if you're thinking, should I press yes on some of these big scary races, or should I just do my first ultra? How am I going to juggle it all? Fiona's here to tell us about her adventure, the come down after the spine race, and then some top tips for us as we toe the line to the Northern Traverse. Here's our chat with Fiona.
I don't know how you do it. I like procrastinate so much. If I had to be, I literally need hours.
No, Gary, me and Fiona, we don't have time. The runner's got to
get it done.
If it's not done in that slot, then I don't have any free time till 7 o'clock tonight.
I'm stressing. I've got to go to the GPs at 2:30, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness me, how am I going to do that? I need like an hour on Instagram after this call. So yeah, how am I going to?
That's why I don't have Instagram during the day, because otherwise I'd be like...
Yeah, I should brick it, shouldn't I?
Otherwise I'd be... Anyway, how are you, Fiona? Not seen you for ages.
Thank you. I'm good. Moving along. I'm not in a peak training block like you guys are.
We were just saying, Gary's back's a bit sore, and my legs are just like blocks. I need to go and get a massage because they are like blocks of... And there's no recovery, is there, when you do like your peak weeks, because your long run is so long. It's just ridiculous and then you just have to you can't rest for like 2 days. You're like, oh no, gotta get back.
Straight back in it.
But even the other runs, I don't know what your training schedule was like, Fiona, but when I'm looking at my plan for the week, it says it's an easy paced run, but it's 2 hours. It's still
it's volume, isn't it? Yeah.
But then 2 hours, when time you get to now, 2 hours, you're like, that's easy. 2 hours is like nothing.
That's crazy. Yeah. It was supposed to be a double day. I couldn't do a 2 hour run. And
double days, goodness.
A 2 hour run, then something else later.
Yeah, I'm moving it around though. It's not going to happen. I'm not doing both. How are you feeling, Fiona? Is it two months since, roughly speaking, 2 months?
I feel fine. I think it definitely takes a while. I think I don't know if it's like the fatigue or just you lose the elasticity or something. There's a lot of bounces going, I think. But hopefully that will, maybe I never had it. Maybe I'm just imagining something. But yeah, there's definitely a bit of work to get that back, I think, and make running feel more like running again.
I've never done anything like that, but there's been times in my life where, I don't know, the big event has kind of took the shine off running and I've lost a bit of motivation, especially for the training side of it. Do you have any of that after the Northern Traverse and this?
I think the first few weeks I didn't do any running, and I definitely didn't want to do any running, and definitely didn't have any desire to follow a training program. But I am getting back into it now, and I am motivated. It is just, I think my legs are needing a bit of encouragement to get that motivation as well. And I've started doing some of these speed sessions, which has been really good. Just trying to train them again, I guess, to how to move and not just to do this kind of slow
don't do too many, otherwise we won't be able to run together, and you'll be like, Eddie, come on!
Don't worry, Eddie. It's still very shuffling, but it definitely does something, I think, and it just reminds you that, oh, I can move a little bit quicker. But yeah, I've still got a lot of work to do, sort of on a rebuild, I think.
I think it's the best idea if you come off a big spine, anything like 200 mile, just done that sort of multiple days to big chunk of rest, and then to go to the nervous system. We're not shuffling anymore, and the only way you can do that is enter something completely different. It's not another right, put your pack on 4 hours. You're like, no, something completely different, and shock the body into. But it does take, I think, like 6 months, I think, to get the ping back. I know. Yeah, okay. So it does. That ping is gone.
Does it come back? Does it?
Yeah, well, I was talking to Robin, and she said she did think it took her 6 months.
Okay.
But she's pinging, my God. She's flying, that girl, now. But it takes another training block, I think, you can't just be like, oh, I'm recovered after 4 weeks. Why am I not back to my normal running pace? You have to have a whole training block, like you're just starting, to get back. Because also when you're doing spine training, you've detrained all your fast switch fibers, which you have to do because you have to become like trying to think of an animal that's not offensive. Donkey. It was going like more cute, like marmot or something like that. I'm not sure they are. But yeah, you're more donkey, aren't you? And you want to become a bit more of a racehorse.
You have got something completely different. End of July, you're on the start line for the Lakeland 100. Is that right?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, which is, I'm quite terrified of that, actually. I watched a YouTube video on it the other week just to kind of, it's like, what have I actually signed up for here? And I thought, oh, actually, no, this is a race. This is actually a race. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not just applause.
Have you done any of the course before?
No, I need to go down and have a look at some of it, I think.
Oh, what a treat. What a treat you're going to have. It's still going through the recovery, I suppose, from the spine race, but now you started training for the Lakeland 100. What is that? I've never done a big scary race like the spine. I'm training for the Northern Traverse.
Gary's scared he's never going to run again after the Northern Traverse.
How different is the training looking then ahead for the Lakeland 100 compared to what you did for the spine?
It's looking different at the moment. I've got a coach, Meryl Cooper, so she's trying to get me running again. So sort of some speed and some kind of moderate or tempo runs as well, which honestly I think are the hardest thing at the moment, trying to run at pace. And I did like 20 minutes 2 weeks ago, I ran for 20 minutes. I was like, oh my God, this is so difficult. And then I did 60 minutes last week. And I was like, how do you keep going? Where's the hill to walk up?
Yeah.
So, so I've got a bit of work to do, but definitely more of a kind of speed element, or speed, I suppose more marathon kind of training block, that kind of thing. But then I need to keep some hills in as well, because I'm doing some random hill races between now and then as well. Well, not random, but like some pretty fun ones. So I'm going to do the Scottish Island Peaks race, which is, you have a boat, so you have 3 sailors and then 2 runners, and then you sail between Oban to Mull. Now I might get them in the wrong order because my geography is terrible, but you go to Mull and run over Benmore, Arran, do Goat Fell, Duran, do the Paps, and then sail down to Troon. It's like the spine race, but you've got a boat to take you between sections.
That sounds incredible.
So it sounds really fun. Yeah, a total adventure. So that's first, and then Lakeland 100. Yeah, my running race after that.
I'm more invested in the sailing one than the Lakeland 100 one. So do you have to run with your partner? Is it a pairs race?
Yeah. So it's paired, which is great as well, because it takes a lot of the pressure off you, but self-navigated, so sort of map and compass type affair. And then you just, I can't sail, I don't know, I just have to sit on a boat.
Pull a rope. You pull a rope if they tell you, go the other side of the boat.
Yeah,
just line your port and your starboard so that when they go, you're a lot just standing.
Exactly. exactly. Yeah, except I had these kind of images of, in my head, this is going to be a beautiful kind of cruise.
You've got Mediterranean images.
Yeah. Maybe a little, gin and tonic on the deck. But I've seen a picture of the boat we're using, and I don't think it's going to be like that.
When is this in May? Is it
middle of May? I think it is. Yeah.
Okay, so you could strike gold and have amazing, or it could be like full waterproof.
Wild.
Whatever. What an adventure!
Yeah,
exciting.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that'll be really good fun. Yeah.
Is that more in your wheelhouse, for like a map and compass style race, or following a GPX?
Yeah, I think definitely the map and compass is kind of the bread and butter. The GPX I've had to learn how to use.
Yes, I've been on the back end of her GPX, trying to follow her own GPX trace.
I mean, that's a learning in itself, isn't it? And getting your watch to do the things that it's supposed to do. Map and compass, bread and butter, but it's still a challenge, And I think doing anything in dark or in bad conditions, it definitely pushes you. But I suppose the nice thing of doing the Island Peaks is you are doing it with a pair, so you've got the kind of the backup there.
What's the total stats on that?
Good question. Don't know. A lot.
You're fully invested in this.
Really, really invested. Yeah.
Are we looking like days? Is it like?
Yeah. So you start Friday morning, and then I think a lot of it is very dependent on if there's wind or not wind. Yeah. So apparently we've to go and meet the boat and practice rowing just in case there is a
up. No.
situation.
Does a boat not have a motor?
Well, I think you get disqualified if you use a motor, or you at least get time penalties.
I'd take the time penalties over rowing for like the energy saving. I'd be like, then we can just rest, and then, oh my God.
So I think some upper body stuff might have to add into my training plan for this one.
Would you get a time penalty for a GPX as well if you followed a route on a watch?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. No, I think it's pretty. I do really need to read the sort of rules and regs quite quickly. Or at all. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's map and compass. Most of the Scottish hill running ones are, no GPXs.
Yeah, that's like a fell race in England too, no GPX. I imagine a few people have sneaky GPXs on.
I'm sure. So
last time we spoke was back in April of last year after your Northern Traverse win, episode 118, if people want to go back. What did the rest of 2025 look like? I've tried to do some research. All I could see was the Kendal Skyline Ultra 50k.
I had a quiet racing year, which is probably normal for me, to be honest. So I had a bit of recovery time after the Northern Traverse. And I think that's mental recovery as much as anything. Body was actually not too bad.
Gary and I were just saying, I was saying the difference between Northern Traverse and Spine recovery is like night and day, really, isn't it? And I think it's the extra, it's like you could almost call it an extra 100 miles, basically, couldn't you?
Yeah.
That you put on your legs.
Yeah.
When you look at the time difference between, say, a Lakeland 100 finish to a Northern Traverse finish, and a Northern Traverse finish to a Spine finish, it's just exponential. It's absolutely wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think when you look at it on paper, but you think, well, how can it take so long? And even going into the Spine race, and I was looking at it and thinking, well, people are taking over 100 hours, but why? I don't understand why are you doing it for, why are you out there for so long? And then of course you do, and you realize that's just what happens. 2025, it was good. Yeah, I did some local races, some local hill races. I kept things short. My mileage just sort of, I suppose, naturally went up again, and did lots of fun things. So I did sort of weekends out with friends and hills, but yeah, I kept it pretty low key from a racing perspective. And then I did the Kendal Skyline. That was a race to try and get me moving at pace. But it was in the middle of a training block, so I hadn't really, there was no taper. It was just as getting into a kind of race environment again and see what happens. And that was good, but that was hard because I was like, I have to run this. Yeah. This is a different kind of challenge.
Yeah, totally. 50k. It was brave of you to put that.
I love a 50k.
You like fast running. We like chatting.
It's like short days out.
Yeah, well, there
was the Spine everything that you hoped it to be, Fiona?
I think so. I went in. I'd have been so disappointed if we hadn't had really rubbish weather, if I'm honest with you. I think you kind of need, you know, you don't love it at the time, do you? But you want to come through and go, oh yeah, that was, you know, that was spine weather. And that was exactly what I signed up for. So yeah, it definitely was. It definitely was.
Was there any bit in the race where you thought, I'm bitten off more than I can chew here? I think being scared for your life is a little bit dramatic, but probably during the race you are a bit like, if I stop.
It was hard because it's such volume. And I think that's the big difference between, I mean, I don't want to compare them because they're completely different races, but like the Northern Traverse and the Spine, it's the volume, isn't it? And the time that you're actually out on course as well. I mean, it's just such a sort of significant difference. And I don't think I ever feel like it was too much, but it was just a kind of like, oh, all right, I've got to just keep going. There's still quite a lot to keep going.
Which you can't train for, can you? Even in like your long training runs, you're always going to finish at the end of the day. Whereas in the Spine, that like, it's Monday.
Yeah, there's such a long way to go. And I couldn't think about it. Like, I couldn't actually think about the Spine race as a whole before the race. So I never ever thought of it as in 268 miles or whatever. And I had all of it broken down on my watch to checkpoint. So every time I loaded up a new section, I would only see what that distance was. And that was the way I kind of framed it in my head, which I do think helped. And even afterwards, it's like, oh, that was what happened there. That was quite a big gap of time has just sort of disappeared. And I don't really know what happened in the middle of it because it's just so big. I don't think I ever felt like I couldn't go on. The worst weather was over Crossfell. And that was just, you know, that felt like it went on for ages because it was in the middle of the night and it was whiteout conditions. But you knew as well, if you just kept going up, at some point you're going to get to the top of it, even though it was actually, you're really hard to follow a GPX through that. I thought that was really challenging.
Were you by yourself?
I was on my own, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And almost it would have been easier if I'd got a map and compass out, to be honest, and you had a rough idea of a direction to go in. But I think you're so kind of, you don't want to come off the route because you don't want to then get a time penalty for missing a part of the course or anything. So it's all about the line on your watch.
It is pretty sketchy up there. Stupidly, we should have done it actually when the race was on because we could have seen some actual people doing the Spine, but we went the weekend after the race had finished and we went from Dufton to Greg's Hut out and back.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
And across Crossfell, you could just go anywhere. If you never had the GPX watch on you, it was still snowy, it was still that kind of wintry conditions. Yeah. Super tough navigation up there.
Yeah, I think it's one of the hardest bits, and also you're so tired by the time you get up there as well that on a normal day you wouldn't find the navigation even in the dark, but you're also like not really sure what's happening as well when you're up there. So, how did you train for that? Lots of people listening have to juggle a lot of things. You're a mum and a doctor. Like, how did you fit in training for such a big run? Because I think that's a real barrier. People think, I can't do these really big, long races because of the volume of training you need to do. But I think you don't actually need to do it. It's just different, the training, isn't it?
Yeah. You could probably do it on pretty low mileage, I reckon. If you could so the way I did it, so I was probably running 5 or 6 days a week. I mean, I kind of built all throughout the year again from the Northern Traverse, just kind of built it up, you know, gradually over throughout the year. And I'm not a massive mileage runner at all. And I think relative to a lot of people. So I think my kind of peak weeks, I was maybe 120-ish kilometres. And that was up.
I thought you were going to say miles. I was going to go, oh my God.
No, but that was up towards the end of the year. And sometimes in the summer, like if I was doing a big day out or whatever, you know, you'd get some bigger weeks. My kind of average week would maybe be 70 or 80 kind of kilometres throughout the year. But then I would try and get a lot of elevation in that as well. A lot of my runs would be hilly just naturally from what I want to run on and what's around me, more than just flat running. So I would maybe do a bit of flat when I was maybe trying to do something with maybe just a recovery run. It might be on a kind of flattest trail, or maybe I'd be doing a bit of speed work. But to be honest, most of my speed stuff would be done on a hill, and more kind of hill repeats. So yeah, there's a lot of elevation kind of just consistently throughout the year, anything between sort of 1,000 meters a week to 4,000 or 5,000, something like that. The way it would sort of structure would be probably one hill repeat session a week and a few sort of recovery-ish runs or sort of shorter runs with maybe something like some strides or something in there, and then a couple of longer runs. So again, after October, November, December, back-to-back longer runs, or a few days. If I was doing a recce, then maybe 2 or 3 longer back-to-back runs. And the longer ones, I would take my pack on.
Yeah. How did you build the pack? What pack did you go for in the end?
So I tried different ones and I couldn't quite work. There was nothing quite perfect in terms of the pockets and things I went for. But I did the Montane Gecko 20 litres. So that worked. It was pretty good, I thought. It was probably the best out of a couple of ones I had tried. And I used the sort of front pouch as well, which was brilliant. And I was so scathing to start with. And I thought, but actually it was brilliant. It was this, little nose bag for snacks, and you could charge stuff in it. Just have one wandering around.
Just every day.
Yeah.
Don't mind me.
I see everybody with these unpacks on, and I'm just curious then how it would work, because you had a Montane pack. It's just easy to clip on, even though it's not an unpack.
I modified it slightly, so I put on some extra clips, but there was enough loops on the Montane bag that you could attach it to, and then I did a couple of extra like little clips that I had randomly in the house that I could clip on, and then I unclip one half whenever I was kind of getting in and out of my bag, so I didn't ever have to take the whole thing off. But it was good.
It says it's 3.5 litres. Is that right?
It's about that. Yeah.
Oh, it's huge. It's not just a nose bag. It's a sort of bucket.
Yeah. And I found it too heavy to put a lot of food in there, but what I did find was helpful is that you could, when you're just faffing, gloves off, put them in there, snacks, rubbish, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just a really kind of useful, I heard someone describe it as office space. And I think that's a really good description.
I love that.
Just do all your admin.
Yeah, just gloves, like gloves off.
Yeah.
And then if you got to charge like your phone or your watch, where you put it in the office space, just into the office. Love it.
How long were your long runs, Fiona?
So I am quoting kilometres, but I think most of my stuff was just done by hours or sort of time on feet. So 5+ hours. Some of my long days would be maybe 8, maybe longer than that when I was doing recce's, but not that many that were that big. Usually I tried to contain it. So often my long runs would fall in so you're asking how I would structure my week so I work part-time and my kids are in primary school. So often my long run would be when you drop them at school, and then I'd have on a day off, and then I'd have until I could pick them up. That would often be how I structured it, unless I was going away for a recce or something. They built, and there was a lot of hiking in them as well. They weren't running.
Did you have a goal for the race, or was it to complete, or an adventure? And did that shift as the race progressed and you knew you were on the podium?
Yeah, my goal was I just wanted to finish it, but in as well as I could for myself. So I wanted to have an adventure, absolutely, and I wanted to get to the end, and I wanted to be one of the sort of small number of women who get to the finish line. So that was my ultimate goal, but trying to do it in a way that I was probably moving as efficiently as possible, and I just completing it in a way that I felt proud of. So that was my main aim. The sort of the podium position, it's such a strange one, because I wasn't running with anybody for the majority of the race, so it didn't really feel like I was racing. So you were aware of that where people were around you, but it was like, well, they're 3 hours or 5 hours ahead of you, and they're 3 or 4 hours behind you. So I
remember you messaging me going, "Oh, well, I think Sophie's going to catch me," and I was like, "She's 12 miles behind you. Like, there's no way unless you decide to stop for that's like 6-8 hours. But you lose that concept, don't you?"
Absolutely. You just think, oh, they're going to just kind of sneak up on you, or something's going to happen. Which now in hindsight, I realise that wasn't going to happen. But equally, you don't really know. But I think earlier on, so probably from about, was it Hawes? I was probably in about 3rd position. And then I think I was always expecting that me and Sophie, who was just behind me at that point, would probably dance around or run together, or she would overtake me, or something would happen. And then it was only really over the Cheviots that I went into 2nd position, because the Johanna, who had been in second, had pulled out of the race at that point.
Did your phone go ping, 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 ping suddenly? Did it? Did it?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's good as well. It's really nice that you can communicate with the outside world, because otherwise you just have no idea, and you don't see marshals that often. So you really are just on your own, and you have to be reminded every now and again that you're actually in a race. And you need to just, so things like that were brilliant boosts, and, get a bit of adrenaline going as well, and get the legs moving. And it just gives everything a kind of whole new focus as well.
How do you manage your pace? My plan for the Northern Traverse release is to, as long as my heart rate monitor lasts before the batteries die, I'll probably use that just probably to rein me in, I suppose, for the first maybe 6-7 hours. Yeah. How did you manage that?
So I don't use a heart rate monitor, and I just went mostly on sort of how I felt. To be honest, the start of the spine was very snowy. So you sort of come up out of Edale, and that first climb, as soon as you were up there, it was gale force winds. And very, very snowy. So the pace was very much determined by the weather and the terrain. The first day was definitely my fastest day, as you'd expect. It was on fresh legs and everything. My kind of goal was just to keep moving, but be able to eat. And it was definitely chatty pace. So if anyone around, chatting away quite comfortably.
Hiya, I'm Fiona.
Really annoying everybody around me.
I'm a mountain leader. Follow me. Oh, no, not this way. Oh, no, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Don't follow me. Have you got any food?
Yeah, what you say? Now, in my office today, I've got. Did you take any learnings? You did incredibly at the Northern Traverse. Did you take any learnings from that into the spine, thinking I made this mistake or I did this right?
I think the Northern Traverse definitely went. I would say was more straightforward in that I made fewer mistakes. Well, maybe I made maybe I made different mistakes. Maybe that's the way to look at it. The Northern Traverse, I think I was too fast in the first section, and it was too warm for me. So I definitely didn't fuel as well in that first sort of 12 hours as I would have planned to have. And I think it was, in hindsight, it was a combination of heat and effort. I mean, not that it made any difference in the scheme of things, but ideally I probably would have maybe have slowed down a bit in that first 12 hours and been able to fuel better. And then maybe some of the sections further on I would have been stronger in. But again, it's a hindsight thing, isn't it? You don't really know. And certainly the spine, the fueling I still got wrong. I mean, I was eating all the time. There was never a point that I couldn't eat, but I just don't think I had enough food. And I really was genuinely scavenging food from everybody. And, the trail angels who are out and would hand out food. I mean, I was literally...
Going, standing there till they went, like, we have to hand it to everybody. So can you...
Yeah, exactly. So I have it all.
I've been there.
The type of food as well, I know what I like in training runs, but it didn't seem to be the same stuff that I wanted in the race. And I think I'm still trying. Lots of food, I think, is the answer, and just probably a range of stuff.
Did you take like sandwiches and stuff like that? What was your...
I did for the first couple of days. I had some wraps and I had some hot cross buns, but then they go stale so quickly, don't they? And then they just go a bit soggy. And so I did for the first couple of days, and I would pick some. I got some out of my first drop bag at Hebden Bridge, and then I don't think I took any more after that. Actually, it was just so unpalatable. So with bars, anything in a packet. So flapjacks, Mars bars, whatever. I probably needed more higher calorie, palatable foods. But it's just the balance, isn't it? Because then your bag becomes so heavy. And certainly on the sections, like between checkpoint 1 and 2, it's such a long section there in the spine race. You don't want to carry so much weight. You don't want it 20 Mars bars from jump.
And I think as well in that bit, your body hasn't faced the facts that it hasn't quite switched into survival mode then. And I think a lot of people stop in that sort of bit as well, or stop at the end of that bit, because the body's still going, I need fuel. And then after that, I think it almost settles, doesn't it? And it becomes, you go into that sort of like into our cavewoman era where you're like, actually, I'm moving and I'm not fueling. I'm eating at the checkpoints, but I'm not eating a huge amount. It's trickling in, and that's enough to keep me going.
Yeah. So definitely fueling, I think, I probably fueled better on a whole on the Northern Traverse once I started eating properly again. But the spine race, I think it kind of dwindled off a bit. Certainly used more gels in the spine race in the first kind of I'd always have gels in my bag because I did find actually that if you just needed something and you just needed it fairly quickly, that was the answer. And I could, quite happily take a gel on and it would just perk you up a wee bit and something.
What's your gel of choice?
Precision Hydration, Precision Fuel, the 90-gram ones that you get. So they
classic.
were good. And the Protein Rebel ones as well. Love one of them. Caffeine Protein Rebel.
And in the office space, you could get a few of those 90 grams.
You can get quite a few. Yeah. And you just have them, take the lid off.
I wonder how many Protein Rebel caffeine gels you consumed over the days.
Oh my goodness. And it's quite good because it's just like a little chilled coffee, isn't it? You just sip on that.
Did you supplement it with anything else? Little 100, again, I've only got experience of 100 miler, but maybe I'd get the Dale Main, I'd have a protein shake or something like that, or maybe something that I just didn't fancy that was available at the checkpoints.
I did use the food at the checkpoints. I probably could have eaten more, to be honest, but I did take whatever they had there. I had, which I didn't use, and this was a big learning point for me for another big race, would be I had these like carb protein mixes and I never took them on, and I should have done because I think that probably, like a recovery shake, I think that would have probably been really helpful. But I think you got sort of caught up with just the amount of admin to do at the checkpoint, and it's like, oh, it's another thing, I have to mix up this drink and drink it. But actually I think that would be
sometimes I found myself watching other people doing that and thinking that is such a good idea.
Yes.
You doing that, and I have it in my bag, but I was like, I can't ask somebody.
It's a step too far.
Yeah, it's a step too far to communicate the fact that it's in my bag. When did you start thinking about sleep on the Spine race? How far did you get into? Because I know you were like, what am I going to do for the sleep?
So I slept at Hawes, which was the second checkpoint, and hit there probably late Monday afternoon, maybe early evening. It was certainly dark coming into Hawes, and I was absolutely desperate for a sleep at that point. So much so that at that point, just coming into Hawes, I actually had to sit down for like 2 minutes on the trail, just on the Cam Road. Actually, I was
lovely,
I
nice covered, safe place for the mountain leader to sit down.
I'm just going to have a little sit down. 2 minutes. Okay, I can go again. Do as I say, not as I do. Then I slept at Hawes, and it probably was a fairly rubbish sleep in hindsight, but I set my alarm for an hour, but I probably did about 45 minutes and then probably fairly light sleep and got up. But that was enough. I just needed to do that and then went on my merry way. I think every checkpoint, after that, I slept for probably about a similar time, probably same, set the alarm and then wake up about 45 minutes. Although having said that, I think I was definitely waking myself up out of a deeper sleep on the later checkpoints. I don't know. I don't think that was the right strategy. It was one that I tried on the Northern Traverse as well, and it seemed to work quite well. And certainly the earlier sleeps, 45 minutes seemed to be absolutely fine for me. But then later on, I just needed 6 hours or something. I just wanted to go to sleep. I just wanted to go to bed and just wake up tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm still not convinced on what would be the right sleep strategy. And there were some trail naps as well. It's
so hard, isn't it? Because if you want to be competitive, you just can't sleep unless you're Jasmine Paris and you can bank, you can be that far ahead. Like you have got to go into a state of really deep sleep deprivation in order to stay up there in the race. And so getting the balance right, I think you did get it right. I know you said you didn't, but you were still with it on the Cheviot. So you moved really well. And I think that is the key to like whether you got it right or wrong.
And maybe it's just accepting that you're going to feel totally rubbish and you're going to feel the effects of sleep deprivation. So it's just whatever you can bank to kind of keep you moving as well.
And I think probably every race as well, like it would be different of where, I mean, you did so because the conditions were, the first half of the race, the conditions were exhausting.
Yeah.
So that your body must have just been like as well, like when you came in the warmth, your mum must have been like, oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
Guys, you don't know what it was like out there. Oh my God. Was there anything in your pack that you took all the way from Edel to Kurt Yeehaw and you never used it?
Probably should have used, but I didn't use my poo shovel.
No. I would like to find someone that does. Actually, I wouldn't like to find that, but yeah.
What else? Map and compass. There you go.
Yeah, but you did get your handheld out, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I had a handheld, and that was really helpful. I used it a couple of times. Yeah, I was very reliant on that on CrossFit. Actually, I kind of needed to have an awareness, a spatial awareness that the my watch didn't give me of just where I was and actually on the hill.
So they've sort of got the kit list about right now that you pretty much
I
did.
think so.
You probably wore all your kit, didn't you, at some point?
Yeah, I definitely had all my layers on at various points. Yeah, I mean, and the emergency stuff, you don't want to have to use them. So I was quite happy to not have to use the extra base layers and stuff. But yeah, everything else I did use.
How were your feet? Because those conditions again were like, right now, I would love to. Have you got a picture?
I've actually painted my toenails so that they don't look, the ones that are still
bad.
Just so that I don't look, when you sort of see a sort of a film of the zombie in it and they've got slightly dead looking feet, that's what my toenails look.
All of them?
So I stopped scaring the family. This is where we're at.
You wore Innovate.
Yeah, so shoe-wise, I wore Innovate Trail Talon Max. I wore the big, and they were brilliant. They were really, really comfy. And then I went up a half size from Haws. I changed at that point, and then I wore my feet. Actually, during the race were great, and they didn't cause me any bother. It was only really afterwards that my toenails started causing me bother. Although having said that, I did get a blister under one toenail, which I popped at one point, but then that was fine, and that didn't.
Did you wear waterproof socks the whole time?
Yeah, so I started with liners. I had merino liners, Innovate liners on, and Ingy liners, the toe socks. And then I had waterproof socks. Then I had to take the liners off when my feet were swelling too much, just so that the combination didn't work. They weren't fitting in my shoes, even the half size up bigger shoe. And then the waterproof socks, they were great. And they were great for maybe the first 5-6 hours maybe, and then they would breach, but still they kind of kept my feet in good condition and kept a lot of the mud and everything out, which I think is as important. And I finished, apart from that one blister under one of my toenails, which was easy to manage. They were fine. Yeah, they didn't cause me any problems. I mean, you could see the effects of water. They were still getting a bit wrinkled, but nothing that you couldn't run on.
Did you use is it the squirrel's nut butter that kind of slows down the maceration?
Yeah, I used the trench foot cream, and the trouble is, I don't know how long this stuff lasts for, when you're kind of in your shoes and socks for, sort of 12 plus hours.
Well, also it's nothing, you're not going to change mid-trail. You're not going to stop unless there's something really, because you're just going to get cold and you can't clean your feet, and so then you can't put the more cream on dirty, because then you're going to get, so it is what it is, isn't it? It's got to last or it doesn't last. I
like thinking that it does something.
I can see that. I can definitely whatever barrier cream you choose to. I definitely think, but I think 6-7 hours, and then the sweat and the moisture, and then you can feel it, can't you? You feel that ball of the foot start to get wrinkled.
I did pre-tape my feet, so I taped around my heels and I taped under the ball of my foot, mostly just for friction. And then again, it was probably quite helpful when I had to lose my liner socks, and then just wear the waterproofs. So because I have had a sort of deep blister underneath the ball of my foot before, so I wanted to try and prevent that.
I remember doing that at Hawes, and it was a medic. I was chatting to him. He was a doctor doing something, a young doctor, and he was doing my feet. And then after about 10 minutes, he's like, I've done it now, so you're gonna have to go. You can't just sit here talking to me, because I'm just like asking all the life questions, just trying to procrastinate, going, don't make me go back out there. I definitely think there is something about taping the bottom of the feet as well on these super long races, and it is just friction trying to take, because once the balls of your feet go, running then becomes
so
you're right, aren't you? It's such a big gap, unlike say Lakeland 100 where you might have 7 or 8 miles between checkpoints. You've got
Can you imagine that
20,
you'd never
30
finish
miles.
a spine if you had Gary, you have 60-70 miles.
I'm thinking about Northern Traverse, sorry, not
Northern Traverse.
Was there a joyful moment? You mentioned about Trail Angels, but something that lifted you when you needed it?
Daylight really helped. So that kind of when the sun's just starting, or not even the sun, it wasn't necessarily the sun, it was just light, when you're starting to get the light and you do feel a real boost. I got that on the Cheviots actually. I was, the sun did actually come out when we were going up onto the Cheviots, and of course you're on your last leg. I took a selfie of me. I mean, I look like I'm just off my face on something.
I think you look
think
incredible. No, I think you're slightly pale. You're slightly pale.
completely delirious, but I was very happy. And I do think a lot of that was just the sunshine, and you're up in the hills, and that was my home stretch as well. So I kind of done that bit quite a few times, and I was like, yes, we're getting there. But the trail angels are amazing. Like they just they would just pop up, and literally someone would be sitting in the back of their car, or a farmer in a field, and some poke and sweets, and it was brilliant. Yeah.
Did you see the guy at the chicken farm?
Yeah, that was an odd experience.
Did he get you to come in his caravan?
Thankfully not.
How did that finish feel then, Fiona, when you were like finally Hut 2, 7 miles, I think it is from Hut 2? Were the family waiting for you at the finish? Were the girls ill off school, or was it just?
No, it was the middle of the night, so it was just my husband had come down, but that was cool. That was really nice. Oh yeah, I mean you're so desperate to finish, aren't you? And then you touch the wall, and then there's like a microphone straight in your face.
Yeah.
I can't string a sentence together. I don't know what you're asking me. It was so good though. It was just such a good feeling to get it finished.
Yeah, it's done. Did you go straight home then afterwards?
Yeah, via a foot bath and a shower, and Nikki Spinks was there as well, which was really cool. So we had a foot comparison in.
So when the girls woke up, were you back at home then?
Yeah.
Were they like, "Mum, you're a legend," or?
No, actually. So I've got a boy and a girl, but my wee boy, he'd woken up. He was sleeping with my mum, was staying over, and he'd heard us come in, and he kind of snuck out at 4 a.m. or whatever, just to give me a cuddle, and went back to bed. So yeah, it was very, very sweet. Just wanted to check that I'd actually come back, and then they were pretty chuffed more that I was home, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Right, Mum, come on,
Mum, and then you're like, I'm not doing the school run. I'm not doing, and they were like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not long after finishing, Fiona, you should confess to the world that you entered again.
Oh no, I know.
I mean, is it like 2 weeks that you were like?
You just don't have time to process it. I think this is what they do. They catch you when you're weak.
But not many people, people do go back, but not many people do go back, because I think it is such a short, you've hardly washed your dry max socks before it's like you've got to commit to it.
Yeah, do you think it's from me watching your result and seeing your result, I thought that's like a phenomenal performance. But do you think, I could tweak a little bit more out of that?
It's really hard, isn't it? You just don't know. Like certainly at the time I finished, I mean, I was quite convinced that probably for the last, 50 hours of the race, I didn't have to do it again. But I don't know, I think maybe just processing it a bit afterwards, and then like you sort of get a little flicker of excitement again and go, oh, maybe if I did this, or maybe I could squeeze more out of it. Maybe squeeze more out of me as well. And you just don't know. But you don't know what the conditions will be like. And there's so many variables. But I definitely, I felt like I wasn't quite done. And I've got all this kit and I need to get my money's worth.
Too right.
It's an experiment. I don't know if personally I can do. No, it's not even about a placing thing, but I don't know if I could move better, or if I could be more efficient in the checkpoints, or if I could manage my sleep better. But I'd quite like to try it again and see if I could.
Any advice? So there'll be quite a few people on that 2027 start line who will be first-time spiners.
I suppose, first of all, don't get too intimidated by it, because I think it is a giant beast. But I think if you break it down, it is, and you just keep moving. I think that's the actual key. Just manage yourself, and the physical training is obviously important, but I think it's a huge mental component in just keeping you moving. Yeah, like when you're doing your training, obviously everyone's got different training programs to follow. follow, but I wouldn't get too hung up on speeds and things like this. It's just, being able to feel comfortable on your feet for quite a long period of time, and having strength as well, I think is really important. So I'm not a PT and I'll probably get shot down. I'm not sure it's too important exactly what you do, but I think as long as you do some form of strength training and it's like full body and go into the race as strong and as fit as you can be, then I think you'll probably do quite well. And just keep your head in the game as well. Don't let the lows stop you. And if there's a way you can turn them into a positive situation, whether it's by speaking to somebody and just getting a kind of, pick up the arse or whatever it is, and put some music on, but just keeping you positive, and I think that moves you forward as well.
Geez, you could sell this. Would you need to cut that up and put it on the Spine webpage?
I wonder if the walking, especially that last 2/3 of a race like the Spine race, if you're used to running, if the weight of that gets on top of you, you're just used to moving so much faster.
I think definitely, probably even from Hawes onwards, so pretty early on in the race, I think my walking pace for a lot of it was faster than my slow running pace.
It's because of the pack, and also the only thing I think you could have done better with that answer, Fiona, is to spend time on the Pennine Way, because there's nowhere else as rubbish as that trail. It's truly hard to find. I mean, there's little pockets, isn't there, if you're in a bit of a bogland where you can find the bog, but those endless paving slabs and that and the exposure of like being, it's 15 miles on the Camhill High Road with nothing. Like, I think if you're going to invest however much Spine Entry is, it's about £50 if you're listening, husband. But like, you also need to invest that you recce most of you carve out 2-3 days on that. On that trail, because that's never time wasted. That's the best training, I think. It is the best training, is to actually be on there with the office, long days.
And even if you can't get on a Pennine Way, find a bog and literally just walk up and down it for about 12 hours.
And if you could put some like stones on it, which are a bit, and then get like someone to spray them and ice them. And some of them are wobbly, some of them aren't there.
Perfect.
Just local obstacle course would be great.
We've got a question from one of our patrons. What for you was the biggest difference between the Winter Spine and the Northern Traverse, apart from the weather, which was amazing on the Northern Traverse last year, and the distance? Asking for a friend who's very low down on the wait list for the 2027 Spine.
The sleep deprivation, I think that's the biggest one. I think that's it is definitely, like, on paper it doesn't look like it's that much longer, but it definitely, on a kind of personal challenge level, it's much more difficult. And it's the sleep deprivation, I think, is the big factor there. Terrain as well. I think the Northern Traverse, the terrain is pretty good underfoot. There's a lot of trails, there's a lot of decent ground to move on, isn't it? Whereas the over the Pennine Way, like we were just saying, it's a variable.
I mean, if you're doing 4 miles an hour, let's put it into context. 4 miles an hour is Jasmine's record. Which is like, most of us, if we went out, we would cover a little bit more than that per hour. But if you do that on the Pennine Way,
you're doing really well.
You're doing really well. Whereas Northern Traverse, there are bits of it where you would be like, I can do 6 miles an hour for a couple of hours even. And of course, the pack allows that as well. Jonathan, I hope you get a place. Come on, let's get him up.
I don't think there's going to be much 6 miles an hour after Kirby Stevens, to be honest.
Come on.
That really nice flat section, though, haven't you?
You've got from Richmond.
You've got
what are you doing there, Gary? Come on.
You can keep moving on that section.
Feeling sorry for myself. That's what I'll be doing there. And again, it's really hard to compare race to race, because the Lakeland 100 and Hardmoors 110, there's so much running. The effort is so much greater than what you would start a race like the Northern Traverse or the Spine race. So my memory of any 100 miler I've done after 80 miles, there's been a hell of a lot of walking and shuffling and feeling sorry for myself. So if you slow it right down, hopefully then that's saving yourself. You are moving consistently faster, right to the end. We never talked about, but you did mention about sleep deprivation. What were your hallucinations like?
I didn't think I was having hallucinations, and then I realised that I probably was. I thought I was completely with it and coherent and all the rest of it. And my husband was actually reminding me the other day it was like a sort of deja vu. I was convinced that I had been home at some point during the race. I don't know how you would describe it, but I was speaking to him on the phone, and I think because I'd spoken to him probably at the beginning of the night and then at the end of the night. In some part of my brain, I was sure that I must have been at home, and I was like, "I'm sure. Are you sure I've not been back?" And he's like, "No, you're still in the Pennyway. You're still a long way from home." But it was such a weird, just very intense sort of feeling like I must have been at home. Like, why would I not have done? And then visual hallucinations there was nothing specific. It was shapes. So I had a shape which I thought was a person out the corner of my eye coming into Bellingham. That was probably where it was the worst for me, actually, from a sleep deprivation point of view. So that was overnight. It must have been Wednesday night coming into Thursday morning. And it was, I was a bit of a mess at that point. And so I had this kind of figure and all the lights I could see. I mean, I still, to this day, I don't know if they were there or not, but I was seeing these kind of dancing lights with these billowy black shadows behind them. And I was probably picking out lights, like reflectors on telegraph poles and things like that. I think I was seeing them, but they had a different form. Yeah, there were just movement going on with them. And then I came into Bellingham, and again, it was more of a sensation. I was like, I don't know why I'm here. I know I should be here. And then there was part of my brain was I couldn't remember what I was doing, so I was kind of mixing up with the Northern Traverse. So I was thinking, I'm not sure. I know I'm doing a race, or I know I need to be connecting places, but I'm not sure exactly what one I'm doing at the moment. I'll just go.
Sounds like my normal life.
Was that during the day? Because normally hallucinations for me are like a nighttime experience.
Yeah, it was early morning, so it was kind of, I don't know, middle of the night. So I was like, I'll follow this watch. I'm trusting this watch. It's taking me here, so we'll go with it. And then it was fine after that. That was my kind of 1 hour or whatever of kind of, feeling a bit bonkers.
Asking for a friend, Fiona. Any tips for a first time Northern Traverse?
Don't fly at the start. Rein it in. I think that's absolutely number one. And everybody says it, and I wasn't sure I believed it either, but I do think it's so runnable, the start. If you can there's so many runnable sections that I think you can make up time if you can just keep a bit of gas in the tank, and also the hills. I mean, I'm pretty sure I sort of trashed my quads, probably running quite hard downhill in the lake section, and they were fine, but they definitely came to haunt me coming up to Lordstones. Up that section I was definitely getting quite uncomfortable. So I think maybe managing the hills, maybe not running so hard in the downhills. Checkpoint efficiency, just come in and out as quickly as you can unless you're sleeping, and keep eating.
Where did you sleep on Northern Traverse?
I went off piste and I made it up as I went along. I slept early, so I slept Kirby Stevens, would it have been? Yeah, it was Kirby Stevens. So I must have been there. So that was night 1. I was probably there about 4 or 5 in the morning. And I slept there. I did a 45-minute sleep. And that was great, actually. I just felt good going into the next day. And then I didn't need to have another sleep until I got to Lordstones. I mean, I would see what the weather was doing and whether I would actually recommend sleeping there, because it was so cold. And I just got chilled. I didn't actually really sleep. And I spent, I think, quite a lot of time faffing about with getting my sleep mat out and my sleeping bag and all the rest of it and going into a tent. I actually don't think that was maybe a very good use of time at all. So I hit Richmond in the middle of the afternoon and it was nice and sunny, and I didn't want to just go to sleep. I didn't feel ready for a sleep there. So pushing on to Lordstones was the right decision, but actually faffing about in trying to get to sleep in a cool tent was probably not. So even pushing on a bit more maybe would have been a better decision, and maybe even pushing on to the next checkpoint and seeing if you could even half an hour, 20 minutes would have, or on the trail would maybe have been just a better use of time.
What's the next one after Lordstones? Is it Glaisdale?
Glaisdale, yeah. There was a village hall, I think. It was right in there. Yeah, that was quick in and out, but you could probably have had a sleep. I'm not sure.
I slept on the table for 20 minutes. Yeah. And the guy I met like 2 years later came up to me at a race. He's like, I was the one when you were sleeping on the table and I looked over you and I gave you a sandwich and then I woke you up. And I was like, there's like no memory of that. Like I wouldn't have known. Like I was like, thank you so, was I all right? He's like, you were off. These people are so kind. You're
Oh,
probably just
legends. All of them.
dribbling legends who just are dribbling. Right. So we got Lakeland 100 and then nothing to the spine, joining the Scottish spine training cult.
Yes.
That's what we call ourselves.
Yes.
Love it. It's super exciting. I'm
Good fun,
super happy that you're going to come back. I think it's brave to come back when you've had a really good experience as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're such a positive person that I'd be like, even if it was different and you were slower for like the conditions, or you just something happened, and I think you'd still come away with it going, well, I had different problems and I just handled myself. Make yourself proud, as you said at the beginning of the podcast as well.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
I'll save the Lakeland 100. I'm going to be volunteering on the Hardmoors checkpoint in Dakar. So any special requests, Fiona, just slip me a DM.
An email.
How far is that into the race, Gaza?
Oh, it's before. I know Dalemain's not halfway.
Oh, it's just before Dalemain, isn't it?
Yeah,
Is it the one just before? Yeah.
Probably like 50,
She's going to be
50 miles.
so sad. She's going to be through the night.
Oh, the coach road. Yeah, that'll take its toll.
Yeah. Love it. We ask everybody, Fiona, their workout of the week. High hopes for this one. What is your favourite workout that perhaps people could try if they're looking for something? If they're looking to get on the Spine or the Northern Traverse podium, asking for a friend.
I might do it, yeah.
I like long hill repeats. I think that's probably one of my favourite sessions. So something like any sort of duration, but 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, or a kind of pyramid, when you're building up, gentle run back down and then go again. But I do like the long hill repeats, I think. And certainly as you're kind of peaking in your training, I find that's there's a kind of nice reward that you get from it. You realise that your strength is actually, hopefully, going up. I quite enjoy that. A pyramid hill repeat session.
What kind of effort?
Max out, Gaza. Max out. Blood in the eyeball.
Should we do the quick five?
Do
what have we got? 1, 2, 3. We have got 5. Oh, are you an early bird or a night owl?
Early bird, definitely. Asleep by 10.
Oh, 10's late. 10's the middle of the night. I've already had a sleep cycle.
After all these podium finishes, it's inevitable. Production companies, they're going to be on the phone, Fiona. When the call comes, you have a choice. Traitors or SAS, who dares wins? What's it going to be?
Got to be SAS. As long as they don't shout at me. I don't like it when people shout at me very much.
Oh, they ask you for your trauma. They're going to take you in that shed, those two middle-aged men.
Yeah, and I'll be like, I went on a run with Eddie one time.
Is that trauma? Oh no! Oh no! I'm so sorry.
If you did do traitors though, and Claudia does the interview, would you want to be a faithful or a traitor?
Oh, a traitor, definitely.
You're there for the airtime, aren't you? We're not there to it's not coffee morning. Yeah. They're never going to show us if we're faithfuls. We get voted off straight away because we'd be too gobby and be like, oh, you're all idiots. We're going running.
I think I'd be a rubbish traitor. I'm terrible at lying.
I'd be terrible. I can't lie, and I just go bright red. But
that's exactly what I do. You do really well at going long, but would you consider entering a backyard ultra?
Yes, I would actually. I don't know if I will, but I wouldn't rule it out. And I originally thought I probably wouldn't want to do it, but there is a sort of strange appeal to it, I think. I'd be curious to see how I'd get on. So yeah, I would, I think.
We had a Tales from the Trails race simulation this week. Was it 12 hours Andy did?
No. Well, yeah, he did 12 hours from his car. Like he used his car as a checkpoint and then did a loop and stopped his car. And then he came home, slept for like 2 hours and then did 6 hours from his home. Oh, no. I'm not sure. Once I'm home, I'm home. This is my problem would be with it. Would be like, I'm done. You have
to be far away. Don't involve your house because that's just game over, I think.
I'd start cleaning something. I'd be like, so the filter of the tumble dryer or something that I'd never do.
Instagram, that's what I'd be doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't have to answer this, but this might be a data breach. Most common ailment you see as a GP?
Oh, good question.
I actually wanted to say, what's your favourite ailment you see when people come in? And then Gary was like, oh, not sure she can share that. And I was like, yeah, but there must be something you come in and go, classic, love this one. That itch, I can give you this cream. I've got my own store.
It's funny because you get things seem to come in threes. So you won't see something for ages and then you'll see say the same thing in one day. Oh, there's always aches and pains. We'll go for sore hips. Everyone's got a sore hip or a sore knee.
Have they? Yeah, I have got that. When a runner comes in, are you like, it's my spirit animal. I can help you with this.
Yeah, do you flex it? Well, I just the podium finish is spine race.
Oh, this old trophy. Oh, yeah. Oh, I've got to dust that one.
Is it shiny?
Every week we share the podcast over on Instagram and you get to choose the song we put to our story and post. Fiona, what songs are going to be?
Have you heard? I would go for Florence and the Machine because I saw her recently and it was absolutely brilliant. And Dog Days Are Over, I think.
Aww.
It's an oldie, but a goodie.
It's a classic. Never get bored of that one. Have you watched, you won't have, but have you watched the Taylor Swift documentary?
No.
You should do. I know you won't, but you should do. But there's a whole episode with her when she comes and is the guest performer with Taylor. She's just the nicest person.
Okay.
And she says something like, she says they're really good friends in like real life, which I'm a little bit jealous of. I like, they did all the rehearsals and she says she's always just been like Taylor, my friend. She's just like, I just, I don't see her. And then she said, then she comes up through the ground in the concert to join Taylor. And she said, I came up like onto the stage and I looked over and I was like, it's Taylor Swift. Is actually the pop star. She was like, it was like a completely different person. That's how I feel when I go running with you, Fiona. Like when you appear, I'm like, oh,
great song.
Thank you so, yeah, great song. Thank you so much for your second. You're going to have to come back again now because we'll have to share we'll have to have a 3-hour decompression of the spine from our sofas. Amazing. Another amazing. I love the way you train. I love your whole smiling philosophy on everything and your positive outlook and another incredible performance and looking forward to seeing you do a little sprint, part run at Lakeland 100 and let's get that out the way and I'll get Northern Traverse out the way and then we can I'm definitely getting one of those on pouches and it's going to become my new. I'm tempted for Northern Traverse even to put it on because I'm only taking a 12 litre and I'm maybe just to charge stuff and just to have that like little bag of jelly babies.
Yeah. And it doesn't really bob around at all if you fix it properly. So
yeah, I'm
tested.
And then and then every time I do it, I'll be like, Fiona, I'm in the pouch. I'm in the office.
We should share one of 17 women to finish this race, and the last female finisher, Fern Parker, was on the course for roughly 50 hours more than you, Fiona. I think that just gives you like a real sense of the scale of the challenge. Absolute rock stars, everybody who towed the line.
We should also perhaps say, like, I know they've done a women's webinar, which have had mixed responses of people that they want more women to be on the start line. And you and I were fingers on the button, ready, weren't we, to enter? And there was still only like 15 women, and quite a few of women I know didn't get spots, but I know, that women did get spots, but it's still not a lot of us on that start line. And I think you've done a really good job of explaining how you train for it and that you don't need to like have 40 hours worth of training free time and you can juggle it all. It's just a case of managing it and just starting
that's it.
As long as you keep moving, if you can keep up like 2.5-3 miles an hour and be prepared to get really tired. You can do it. Like you Absolutely. And I, we are superheroes, but we're just normal. We're just mums, we're just mums absolutely. And we can do it.
Obviously you're a different league, Eddie, but we're not.
Shut up! You shut up.
We're not superhuman, are we? We're not superhuman, and it is like you say, it's just actually putting yourself forward and doing it, and you realize actually you can do some really big stuff, big scary things, and it's totally achievable. So
I think the fear before these big races is way worse than the race.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think if you feel that and you go, no, I'm not doing it, I can't enter it, like everybody feels that. You feel like even on the start line you think you can't do it, but the minute you start and you're in it, if you can look after yourself and if you're happy in your own company and being slightly sad for a few hours every day, but if you're okay and you can manage yourself out and you can keep moving and you can find the joy in that, I would say anybody can do it as long as you can keep moving and you can be by yourself and you're happy to be by yourself. So if you're like, I'm not sure, just do it. Just try. And what's worse can happen is you call somebody and go, can you come and get me? I don't want to carry, like, men do that at Hawes, half the field. So don't be scared to do it. And Fiona and I are always here. We've done it. We've managed it. We're going back again. Oh my God, I'm mad for it. If anybody's thinking, I can't do it, you totally can do it. You totally can do it. And it's life-changing. It's a really expensive week of life-changing, but it will change your life. It changes the way you look at life. It changes the way you think about things. If you can do something like that, you come away from that with such mental strength, don't you? Of like, there's really nothing I can't do now.
Mental strength, but far fewer toenails.
That's the t-shirt.
And especially in Scotland, Fiona, when are those Birkenstocks going to come out? I don't reckon for another few. You got ages. Thank you so much from Tea and Trails. We love you loads. And right, get back. You got 8 by 45 seconds fast with 3 mile tempo finish today.
Full pack.
It's gone.
Speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fiona.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Take care.